Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're doing a how to build on Anne. Not recently, but a little while ago I got Anne from, I believe it was Demon King's Banner, which was actually really good because I really wanted Anne. She's a really good support, and the more I've used her I realised she's actually quite a good DPS for PvE as well. So going over her stats and my recommended gear sets for her in different content, because once again it will vary. Pierce rate 90%. It's not bad. She does boost pierce rate, so it's not too bad. 80% of resistance is pretty standard. Anything below 80% I consider quite low. 94% crit chance. It's not the worst. It's definitely not the best. 235 crit dam. This is with attack crit on at the moment. It's not bad. It gives her about 215 without outfits, which isn't too bad. 86% crit resistance. It's on the lower end, but it's not the worst I've seen. 89% crit defense is decent. Definitely seen better, but it's definitely not as low as other characters. The 9% lifesteal is decent. It's a human, and I've seen much worse. First skill is just a pierce rate single target. Standard. Nothing changed about it at all. 200, 300, 500, like what Lance has got. She has a new skill called Degeneration, which is 2 times crit chance and 150% damage against enemies afflicted with stab wound. Being 180, 270, and 450 multiplier. That is the exact same as the Amplify skill. And what is Stab Wound? We'll get onto it in the passive in a second. Her ultimate increases the hero's crit chance and crit chance by 8% and crit damage by 100% for 2 turns, and then inflicts spike damage equal to 500% of attack on one enemy, which is crazy, by the way. The multiplier itself doesn't really scale too much, only 50% per, so the difference between 1.6 and 6.6 is 250%, which sounds like a lot, but bear in mind the buff doesn't scale with it as well. It's actually pretty good. Onto a passive, which is actually her key part and why she actually is so good. So she increases applicable allies' basic stats by 5% for each one participating in battle, which is humans or 4 knights, which is pretty good. Allies' pierce rate is increased by 40% and damage taken is decreased by 15% for each 4 knights of the Apocalypse character participating in the battle, which is crazy. You get a 40% pierce rate boost and a damage reduction for each 4 knights. Let's say you're running Percival, you're running Narzians, you're running Anne, and you're running Vargius in back, let's just say. You're getting quite a nice boost, especially for pierce-based characters like Lance, who really do want increased pierce rate, and she can provide that, which is kind of crazy. And as well as providing decent damage reduction, something Narzians can also do as well. Enemies hit by a pierce skill, so that's not just her skill, that could also count as Lance's single target as well, are inflicted with stab wound for 3 turns. Stab wound is they take 30% more damage, and it actually counts as a bleed effect as well, so they take additional damage equal to 80% of the damage dealt at the end of every turn, which is really cool. Bear in mind that lasts for 3 turns. So you get a 3-turn bleed that procs every turn and does 80% of the damage you deal. So let's just say you deal 500k to a character, they're going to be taking 400,000 damage in bleed every turn for 3 turns, which will total to about 1.2 million health if they are somehow still alive, which is really good. But that's not only it. When the hero uses the Degeneration skill on an enemy affected with stab wound, the hero's attack related stats are increased by 50%. Of course, that is only when using that skill, but bear in mind that skill alone has 2 times crit chance and does 150% more damage. You get a 50% crit damage boost on top of it. Sorry, 50% attack related stat boost on it, which is crazy. And not only that, there's even more. If there is an enemy afflicted with stab wound on the battlefield, allies' base stats are increased by 10% and the damage dealt is increased by 40%. So not only when you've inflicted someone with stab wound, do you get a 10% basic stat boost, you also get a 40% damage boost, you get a 50% attack related stat boost when using the actual Degeneration skill with it. They take 30% more damage, you get a 40% pierce rate boost per 4 knights character on the field, and you get 5% basic stats per 4 knight or human on the field as well, which is crazy. And all of this combined makes her a crazy good PvE character, for the fact of, just even this bit here, even if you're not running 4 knights, just this bit down here and this top bit here, and her ability to do a lot of damage is really good. And I've actually recently been using her in a lot of PvE content, especially event bosses, because she is a really broken, powerful single target DPS. Mix that with Mazano, Mikasa, who boosts single target damage increase, and Char as well, who's an absolute queen at one-tapping anything in PvE, especially event bosses. And for gear, I would recommend for PvE, just give her a random piece of attack crit, which is what I've done. I've actually not got any engraved gear for her. I've just got this random piece of attack crit gear, which I use basically for all event bosses you see me in videos using her with. She's got this gear on. Or if you want to use her for PvP, I recommend HTB Defense UR gear, solely for the fact of you want her to have CC, because she not only can she play a decent role as a DPS, but she does boost her attack by a lot as it is, and she also plays a massive role on being a support character, which I think is a lot more important than her putting out even more damage. But yeah, that's basically it. HTB Defense for PvP if you're going to be running her in PvP, and if you're going to be using her in PvE, I recommend attack crit. You don't even have to UR the gear, you can steal someone else's UR gear, or you can be like me and she can just hold a random piece of attack crit set that you've got ready for the next character you're going to give attack crit to. As you can see, I don't really have many outfits for her, but she still does amazing damage, and I highly recommend leveling up, especially if you have her. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching this video, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.